Good morning, Denise. Best part of your Wednesday. Well, I had some technical difficulties. It took me about 3 different ways to get through to you today, so I'm just glad I'm here. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Patricia. Good morning, Christina and Stephanie. How you guys all doing? I'm going to just give just a few minutes for people to pop in, and then I'll get started. I'm just looking for my embossing mat in the catalog here. There it is. Hi, Christine. Hi, Donna. So I just want to tell you there's going to be a special coming up October 8th to 10th for all new subscribers. So if you have a new email address for Paper Pumpkin, you can get this. It's a $5 kit for the first kit. When we are finished, I will post this onto my blog as well, just for the link there. And then every subsequent kit would be the regular price, which would be $19.95. So October's kit, I believe, is a fall theme. I'm not 100% sure, but November's kit is most definitely a Christmas kit, and it is going to come in a special box. So just as you know, you do have to use the promo code FLASH1018, and these are going to be while supplies last. So if for some reason you sign up and they sell out of the October kits, you'll get the November kit for $5, which will be the Christmas kit. So it's kind of like win-win either way. If you don't have a Paper Pumpkin account or you've never used Paper Pumpkin before. So again, when I post my blog later, I'll put some information. My blog probably won't post until later this afternoon though, because usually by the time we wrap up, I have to get my son from school and we won't be home the rest of the day. So I will post everything to the blog. It's just going to take a little bit. So Paper Pumpkin, $5. Doesn't start till October the 8th, but I just wanted to tell you guys ahead of time. I know we're a little early. And what we're going to be doing today, I just want to show you a couple things. I did get myself some new blender pens, and I got some of that, this is the Sweet Season washi tape. It's a bundle. This is in the holiday catalog. I got this the other day. All the things that I ordered, I also got another punch came in. So I ordered this Labels to Love set. So it comes with a coordinating punch, and then the stamp set. This is a bundle. So you have trick-or-treating, Christmas, lots of Christmas, Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day. You could use it for tags as well if you'd like. And then the other thing I got, which I was kind of twisted, I only was going to get the dies, but I thought, well, if I'm going to get the dies, I guess I might as well just get the stamp set too. So I got this bundle as well, because I thought these would be really cute using on cards. So if you put the Merry and then you could stamp the Christmas. I saw a lot of really great ideas with this. And then the other idea, this kind of reminds me of, I can't think of the name, maybe it was Inspired Events, where it has a lot of different words that you can kind of intersperse together. So, and I also thought this was a really pretty saying. So I just got these yesterday, so I'll be making some cards with these soon. And then I just wanted to share a couple things I created. So now that I don't have anybody home with me when I drop him off at school, I have a lot of extra time and also waiting for 9:30 to come. So I made this cute card. And I actually saw this idea on someone else's blog. My DSP is a little crooked here. You can tell because the lines are straight. But isn't this fun? The way to fold a card. Now, granted, you wouldn't be able to really stand it up, so it kind of have to stand up sideways, and I didn't crease my layers. But isn't this kind of a cool color combination? You could use this for a guy as well, I think. But this is using the Twinkle Twinkle DSP. And then what I did was I used the, oh gosh, I can't remember what this one is called. It's probably right here in the embossing folders. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Oops, wrong way. The Maps. This is using the Maps dynamic folder. So I just embossed this. So it's like these folds would match. So you can see there that they do line up. But just to make it more fun, the person put this layer so it kind of gives it like that added dimension. Maps. Thanks, Denise. So, I also thought, I was like, I might finish this one before we're going, because I thought we could use this with pink, or we could use it with Night of Navy, and then just finish the front of it. So I'm going to finish this one before we're going, but I was just fooling around, wasting time. So I used that with the Picture Perfect Birthday. And then, let's see, let me put this somewhere where I'm not going to lose it. And I'm going to show you, we are going to make some cards today. I'm going to give you some different ideas for the embossing mat. And I have a few tips, so in case you haven't seen it, the embossing mat is in the catalog. It's in the back with the Big Shot accessories right here. You get all 3 of these pieces for $15. So what this kind of does is it makes it so instead of just using a die to cut something out, so for example, if you have the stitched shapes, you could actually emboss the stitched shape onto your card panel and decorate it. You could do it with the ovals, with the squares, with the circles. You could do it with all of them if you wanted to. But it gives you a whole nother group of things that you can use for these dies. So you get 3 mats that come with it. There's a blue mat, a gray mat, and then this is a really hard white mat. Now, being honest, I did buy this once before Stampin' Up! Put it out, but it only came with these 2, which kind of limits what you can do. So thankfully, Stampin' Up! Also has this blue mat in there, which is a lot flimsier than this. You can just tell by the noise and the thickness of them. So if you buy this just from Sizzix, you don't get this. So if you buy it like from Sizzix or say Simon Says Stamp or something or other, you only get these 2. You don't get the blue one. And the blue one is thinner. You probably could, it's a little thicker though. Let's say you could almost do your silicone mat, but it is even thicker. The silicone mat is probably half as thick as this, but it's definitely thicker than that. Because I was going to say almost you might be able to substitute this, but I don't think so. So anyway, it's not that expensive, $15. Now, one other tip I am going to share with you, and this is something that I have done myself because, and I'm going to show you why. No, 2 reasons really. If you have your cutting plates, even though they may be very warped, which some of mine are really, really warped. These are probably 2 of the least warped ones that I have. If you're using this for colors or for any other kind of cutting, it's fine. No matter what they look like. They're going to get scratched up. They're going to get a little bent. That's normal. And I will tell you, it's probably not worth the effort of trying to heat them up and stink up your house and possibly inhale chemicals to flatten them again. They're really terrific. They're not expensive. They're $11. So you can buy yourself a new set. So my public service announcement is, if you're going to emboss, I have 1 set of these, and I only usually use 1 because I'll use one of the roughed up ones for the bottom. I'll use this for the top. I only use this for white or for foil. Because if you ever notice, if you cut something out with white and you're pressing it through, if you guys can see there's little teeny pieces of paper in here, it will actually get pressed into your white or vanilla cardstock. And it also can make indentations in your foil. Now, you can get around it by putting maybe like you could take, you could run it back through again, and you could fold your piece of paper in half and run your card back through to smooth it out if you wanted to. But then you're doing 2 steps. So I have 1 set of embossing pads, or cutting pads, I should say, and I only use these for white or for foil. So I'll show you what I mean once we get into this, but just for FYIs. And what we're going to do today, so this is the Big Shot mat, so we're going to use these. The cool part is I did save this because on the inside, it shows you different sandwiches. So this is your regular cutting sandwich. This is if you're going to cut and emboss something. And then there's one for just embossing. And then up here in this section, it tells you what those are. So number 1 on all of these, you'll see is your cutting pad. So you do have to have a cutting pad. This one you have to have 2. So this is really handy to keep because it tells you exactly how to make your sandwich depending on what it is that you want to do. Well, Denise, maybe you'll fall over the fence once you see this card because it is pretty cool. All right, so I'm going to show you one other thing that I made. I made this. This was like a mashup. I was playing with this the other day, and I thought, oh, wouldn't the staircase look cute? So what I did was I got this. This is from last year. It is in the annual catalog, ready for Christmas. And if you recall, these cool stairs, they're die cut. Now the stairs here and these stairs, they do not match. So I learned that one the hard way. So they don't match. So what I did was I just cut the stairs out of the wood DSP. So this is the same thing. If you can see that there, it does emboss this slightly, but you could emboss it more if you ran it twice and you did it with the mat. And then what I did was I just stamped the stockings, and then I just fussy cut them and hung them on there, and then I stamped some pictures in the background. And I originally had this mounted just onto thick very vanilla, but it was just kind of a little bit meh. So I ended up cutting up the panel and then I remounted it onto some Poppy Parade. But cute idea for some stamp sets. Maybe you have some new ones and some old ones, so you can kind of do a little bit of an old and new mashup there. And what I also did was I punched, or I should say I stamped the garland. I stamped it in shaded spruce onto Pear Pizzazz paper and then cut it out, and then I just kind of sponged the edges. But it was really cute, something fun to do if you happen to have those. Lots of stuff you can do with that. And then another card that I made, but I didn't quite finish yet. I actually saw this idea in the catalog, and I'm going to show you because I have this bookmark so I could share it with you guys. There's a piece I don't want to lose. So, let's see. I saw this as a tag. Of course, where is it now? I think it's on the back page. Yeah. So I saw this as a tag here. You see that tag? And what they did was they stamped the trees just all around the edges of the tag, and then they used some glimmer paper and they punched these out, and these are in this Into the Woods framelit set. But I thought it would be really cute as a card, but I just didn't finish up yet with my tree. So what I did was I stamped my tree, and I ended up stamping this in Garden Green, and then I just went over a little bit with the crumb cake. So I thought it was really cool, but I haven't finished this yet because I think it needs something under it, like maybe some burlap ribbon or something or other. But I've just been trying to fool around with cards that I like, but also just looking through the catalog. And for example, so that was a tag, which I thought would make a really cool card. This, if you made it smaller, you could make into a tag, would be really pretty. But there's so many ideas in here. So if you guys ever get stumped and you bought a stamp set and you're like, I can't find anything to make with it, look through the catalog. It may not be the stamp set that you purchased, but this is a beautiful stamp set. And we have so many other stamps in this book that you could use this and just swap out some of the ideas. So if you're ever stumped, just glance through your ideas, glance through your catalogs. That's what you have them for. If you don't have a demonstrator and you need a catalog, all you have to do is send me your full mailing address to rachthestamper@gmail.com. I'll be happy to send you one. This is another one that I love. I cased this one a while ago. This is really simple because you have some tone-on-tone stamping there. So anyway, just a couple little PSAs. Let me move some of this stuff out of the way. And I did have to make this card ahead of time because I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to do with it. This actually is an idea that Donna suggested. And when she suggested it, because she said she hadn't seen the mat used that much, I thought, well, I have to go make one now because I didn't have anything to do. So I made this. So this is the card I'm going to show you how to make today. And I also have a couple variations of different things that maybe you could do with it, okay? So what I did was, when I did this card, I took pictures as I went along. So what I'll do when I'm finished on the blog, I have a picture of a very basic version. And then I did like one notch up, which I made these pearls were white. And then I did one more notch up by adding in the Wink of Stella. And then I used my bronze Stampin' Blends to color the inside of these little pearls that I put on. I colored them bronze. So if you can see. So this is pretty cool because when you do this with the, I did it with the sponge daubers. No, I did it with the sponges. It kind of creates like an emboss resist. And this is just using the embossing mat with a die. And then the other thing, what I did was I cut out some leaves. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of leaves here. Some of these I haven't finished cutting yet. But I cut a lot of leaves and then I embossed them. And this is also where having a clean embossing plate comes in handy because it keeps the impression really, really deep on them versus having like marks of cutting, if that makes sense. But what I did was I cut all of these out. Now, granted, some of them are copper, but I cut them out from this layer back here. So there's a layer of gold foil. Underneath it's full of holes from all these leaves that I cut out just to be able to use more stuff with it. So good idea there if you're being very economical, let's say, with your paper and trying not to waste stuff. So it was really fun. And this one used a couple different things. I used the Nature's Roots framelits. And if you guys have noticed, some of these have a lot of deep leaf marks in them. These are made to be used with the embossing mat because it's going to give this impression. And then it also has a coordinating die that will actually cut out the leaf. So if you look at your stamps, if you go back and look at your dies, I bet you'll find a lot more of these that you'll be like, oh, look, well, that's what that's for, because you can actually use this to create an impression and emboss with. And if it doesn't have a die, all you have to do is trim it out. These are really easy to trim out as well. And then the other one that we used were the Springtime Impressions Thinlits die. So that actually made this impression right here. You see it fits over it just perfectly. And what we did was we used the embossing mat. We got this deep embossing into this. I actually used thick, very vanilla for this, or thick Whisper White for this, because I wanted it to be deep. Used the mat and then went over it. So it was very, very simple. You're frugal with foil. Hey, I understand, and that's why I thought you could get 2 for 1 instead of just putting a panel of foil back there. You could cut some stuff out. Nobody would know the difference. And then another set you could do this with if you didn't have that really great set is the the seasonal layers, because you could do a whole bunch of different leaves on here. And even though this one is not an impressions die, you could make it into one, but you could do a Christmas one with the snowflakes would be really pretty as well. So we can either repeat this exact card again, or we can do a Christmas version with the snowflakes. So it's up to you guys. Again, either one. I will show you the pictures of this on the blog later. So if you want to do the other one, we can do that. But this was using the Nature's Roots. So I'm going to show you a couple other stamps while I wait and see what you guys decide. If you want to do both, listen to you. I don't have that much time, Patricia. So we could either do a fall card or a Christmas card. But a couple other examples just to show you what you could do with. You could do the Tropical Thinlits. You could use any of these to emboss with. You could do it with the Animal Outing. Now, granted, you probably would only use these two. But you could totally use the giraffe print and make this all over the back and then do a giraffe card. So this would be fun. I saw a really gorgeous one on Google with the Under the Sea framelits. It used this and it embossed it with the embossing mat. So lots of cool ideas. I see lots of Christmas and snowflakes. So I think the Christmas snowflakes have won. So what I will do is I will go back and film a video for this and post it onto YouTube later this week with how to do this version. So we'll do that. So this one is going to be, I'll do a YouTube video, I promise. For those who wanted fall and wanted to see this, I will do a YouTube video. So just make sure if you aren't following me on YouTube that you go there. You can find me under Rachthestamper. And instead of cutting out the leaves, what we'll do is we'll do this with silver foil and we'll cut out some snowflakes. Okay? And I will do the other video, I promise. So what we're going to do, we have Colorful Seasons. We're going to use these. Speaking of, there is an amazing new deal. I shouldn't say new deal, a new promo. If you are a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, you know what this is. But they have this gorgeous 2 stamp sets. A incredible, which I haven't ordered it yet, an incredible snowflake die set. That is so cool. They have some snowflake trinkets. And they have this awesome, 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 awesome white. It's like a flocked or a felt paper. It's a whole 12 by 12 sheet, which that one right there just sold me. So if you're a demonstrator, you can buy these now. They're pre-order from October 1st to the 31st. If you're not a demonstrator, if you join now, you don't have to buy anything. You don't have to sell anything. You don't have to have a party. You don't have to do Facebook Lives. You don't have to talk about anything to anybody. You can sit in your craft room and make your stuff and be peaceful if you like. But that's the only way you can get it now. Otherwise, it will become available for customers November 1st to the 30th. It is another limited time bundle, kind of like that Colorful Seasons bundle. But if you're interested, you can pick that in your kit joining as a demo. So I'm going to do these snowflakes. And we're going to start with these. Let me just pull these, oops, these 3 out. We don't really necessarily have to use, we'll use these 2 as well for our stamp set. We don't necessarily have to use this as our sentiment. We can kind of figure something out. But what I want to do is I want to show you first how you're going to do this. So again, when you go back, I know this is going to be like a little bit of a long explaining to do. You do want to make sure that you read what you want to do, because there's different things for your embossing sandwich versus a cutting sandwich. And you don't want to cut this mat because it is thin enough that it will cut. However, it still will work, because I know someone who had accidentally had a customer cut theirs, and it does still work. It's just, you probably want to keep it whole if you purchased it, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to grab some thick Whisper White. So I'm going to grab, I have one thing already cut here, thick Whisper White. And we're going to trim this down. Now this one I made the mistake and I end up having to cut it after the fact. So I'm going to make sure I cut it a little bit smaller now. So we're going to cut this down to 3 3/4 by 5. That way we won't have to worry about re-trimming it after we've already put our snowflakes on. So 3 3/4 by 5. We are going to need a layer for the inside. So I'm going to just go ahead and cut one out of this extra piece now. So this will be 4 by 5 1/4. This will be our inside layer. And again, I just want you to remember and bear with me. I've only done this once, so if I make a mistake, I apologize ahead of time. We're going to use, it's up to you. You guys want to use silver, or do you want to use champagne foil for the snowflakes? Either one I think would be pretty, but it'll be your choice. Let's see, where do I have my foil here? So the champagne almost has that little bit more of a rose color, like a rosy silver, and then we have silver. So anyone has a preference? Where so far I'm seeing silver, silver, silver. All right, so silver it is. And I'm just going to pull that out. Here we go. Okay. So I have some silver. Now one other thing, when you glue these on, I would say, here's a caveat. If you're just gonna cut these out, snowflakes, and emboss them, or just cut them out, you could definitely use the Sizzix, the adhesive paper, because then all you're gonna have to do is peel these off and stick them. But I've not done that before with embossing. So I'm gonna run one through and see what it looks like. Once we are finished, I'll test it, but I don't think you're going to want to use the sticky paper, because I think it might goof it up a little bit. So I just have a regular piece of silver here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this up to, and this will be our other layer. So this one is going to be 4, let's go this way, 4 by 5 1/4. So this will be the layer that goes underneath of our thick Whisper White panel. So it'll be this and this. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually cut our snowflakes out of this underneath part. Okay, so let's get going, and then we'll figure out what color we're going to use for our base. So I'm going to move this over so I don't make a mess with it. Move this over here. This is my inside panel. Slide my coffee over a little bit so I don't spill it. I always bring my coffee up because I tend to run into these fits sometimes where I can't stop coughing, which is kind of embarrassing. So I figured, just to save us the drama of listening, I'll always have some coffee. I'm going to try not to spill it. Okay, so when you are going to do your embossing mat, you only need the platform. Okay, you don't need the thin die adapter. You only need one cutting plate, okay? So this is going to be for the white panel, so we don't really, I shouldn't say we don't care what it looks like, but it's going to be underneath, so it won't be as noticeable. If it was on top, we would want to use the fresh one, okay? So again, what we're going to do is we have, it tells you exactly here on the bottom. So if you have this, this is what it says. And what I will do is I will get a really good picture of these with my camera, and I'll post all these sandwiches on the blog post with this later as well. But you're going to put your number 7 would be your platform. Number 1 is going to be your cutting plate. And when you do these, you're doing them with the dies facing up underneath. So this can be a little confusing. And since these snowflakes are small, we're going to run this through more than once. So this will be where if you want to put a little bit of tape on the back to kind of keep them in place, might be a good idea. So I just have some painter's tape here. So I'm going to kind of just put these in a slight pattern. Put one here. All right, so our dies are on here, but we're going to flip it upside down. Okay, let me just lay this down, and I'm going to move this over so you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, so the dies are underneath, the paper is on top, then we're going to put down the blue mat, so you just kind of lay it on top, and then the hard white mat, okay, and you just slide that in. So you're going to crank it through. It doesn't really sound like much is happening. I will say that you're kind of like, well, this probably didn't do anything. You can run it through twice if you want to, but that's okay. You can catch it later, Jenny. Thanks for stopping in. You'll see, okay, that it did do something. So there are your embossed areas. Now this one did a little bit more cutting than I probably would have wanted it to, because I think when I went through twice. So I'm going to be a little bit more careful the next time. I'm only going to run it through one time. So I'm going to just move this over. We'll move this in here. Put this over here. Put this one over here. And I'll put the little one, see if I can fit this little one in the middle. And hopefully this will work. Okay, so same thing again. I'm going to just flip it upside down. Put on my blue mat. Put on my white mat, and I'm going to just do it one time this time. So just run it through once. Okay, and that way I'll bring it back to show you what it looks like. There you go. So these aren't quite, so you don't put it through twice. Don't do what I do. Do what I say. How many times your parents tell you that? So I'm going to just take this small snowflake and I'm going to fill it in a couple more times here because I don't want to take up the whole card. We're going to kind of do that partial focus like we did. So I'm going to take the big one off, put this on the side, and I'm going to put this one over here kind of hanging off a little bit. Oops, just be careful with your tape. Put that here, and we'll put this one right, just to like fill in, just to fill in a little bit of the white space. Whoops, hold on, they're not sticking where I want them to stick because I don't have the tape on here correctly. Put one here, and we'll put one here, just like that. Okay, so this will be the last run. I'm going to flip it over again. Okay, so one more time and put it over here so you guys can see. So once again, you're going to just lay your blue mat on top, white mat on top, and then crank it through. All right, so this will be our last pass of this one. Okay, now here is where it kind of comes to the point of depending on what you want to do if you're going to save your paper. So this is going to be our piece that we're going to color. Okay, so I'm going to set this on the side for now. So now this is going to be our silver piece where we're going to cut some of our snowflakes out of. Now, one thing that I will tell you is you can emboss these and then cut them out. But this is where I was saying that if that's something you want to do, you want to make sure that you use a new plate because you don't want to get all these kind of yucky looking impressions on your paper. Okay, so I'm going to put a new plate down instead. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you one time of embossing it. And I don't know if it'll work the same for this because this is a die. But it should put an impression and then cut it. So I'm gonna try to do that. So I'm going to do one, let's see. Let me change around my thing here because this one also does have one for cut and emboss. So let's try and use that one and see what it looks like. So what it says is number 7. So we're going to do our big shot platform. And then number 1 is going to be our cutting pad. So we're going to use our nice cutting pad. And then we're going to put our die. So let me see what number 3 says because it does have different die with paper still in it. So cutting edge is going to be up. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to cut the silver. We're going to turn this over. I'm going to move it down just a little bit. Push this through again so you can see. So I'm going to lay these down kind of in a slight pattern. And then we're going to lay this where we think the edge is. So like that on top of it. Okay. Then we have number 9 and number 8. So number 9 is the gray pad. So we're going to use that and then the white pad. So we're not going to use the blue this time. So this time we're going to put the gray. And this is the first time I've done it this way. So we'll see what happens. And then the white. And to be honest with you, I haven't used this enough that I have this memorized. So, all right, so we're going to crank this through. We'll see what happens. Well, that's definitely making more noise than the other one did. Oh, boy. Let's see. Okay. So, wow, that definitely gave an impression. But it didn't cut it all the way. Oop, this one it did. That's weird. All right, so this one I kind of cut. It did a great job of embossing it, but they didn't cut. And I don't know if it's because it's the foil, which it could very well be. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to line these back up, and then I'm going to cut them and see what that looks like. So right now I'm putting a junky pad on the bottom. Let's see if I can get this line back up. Put this one on the back on here. Oops, got tape sticking to me. And this one on there. And then I'm not going to put in my thin die adapter because I think it should be enough, since it's already embossed, to just cut. So let's see. Nope, not enough pressure. It's sliding too easily. So I'm going to slide this out. And I'm going to put my thin die adapter back in. Okay, it's like a work in progress here. All right, and crank this through. We'll see what happens. All right. So, oh, this static is incredible. Okay, well that cut that one out. So there's the 3 of them cut out. Oh, this one kind of got a little bit, I think because this one got cut before and it is extremely detailed, this one fell apart. So this one you probably might not want to run through. So I do have a partial piece of this left. So maybe we can use this like if we cut it on the corner or something. We use that one. We'll save that one for that. So these 2 here, so that one completely came out. That was that really detailed one. And then I have these 2 here. So let me show you. Put this down so you can see what these would look like. Let me grab this one. Just gonna poke this through. Here we go. So, wow, that's really detailed. And all the little doodads came out. So this is a really, oop, it's very frail though with this, this foil paper. But hey, no 2 snowflakes look alike, right? So that one lost some of its pieces. And then we have the tiny one. Let's see what this looks like. Nope, this one is another. So these are really super tiny cuts, and they're really frail, and they're falling apart with this foil. So there we go. We learned a lesson. You can't emboss with snowflakes on the foil, but you can absolutely emboss with those leaves because they turned out, where did I put them on the side? Really, really good. I don't know where I put them. I'll find them when we're done. The leaves turned out awesome, so you can do it with the leaves. These must just be that they are between the paper and the embossing. They're very, very thin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the side. I'm going to cut a few more snowflakes out just using the die, just so we have some other stuff to decorate it with. So I'm going to kind of try to keep these away from my border a little bit. So I'm going to put like the tiny ones here. We'll do another, oh, where'd my big one go? We'll do another big one and just poke some of these little silver pieces out real quick. That is one other thing. You do want to make sure that you take the time to poke out all the paper that might be underneath. If you have the die brush, you could do that as well. I have it, but I don't use it very much. So make sure that your die is clean before you run it through again, because it's going to make a better impression of cutting it once the first time without messing it up. And then if you wanted to, if you were doing white again, you could run, like just wipe this down with a little cloth or something. So I'm going to run this through one more time. So this is just our regular sandwich again. We have our big platform. We have the thin die adapter. We have our foil paper. And so now, again, if you wanted to, this would be a great place you could put the adhesive. This looks much better. It's not as... So I will say two things. Kind of depends. This one is very dimensional. You can just tell by looking at it. And this one is much flatter. So even though it was a little frail, this one has a lot of depth. Looking at it, it looks very 3D. And this one, and you may not be able to see this one is very flat. You can see the difference there. So this one's got a lot of detail to it, and this is very flat. So if you're okay with maybe not doing it with the bigger ones, or I know Pamela said you could do that with the Blizzard thing. You could do that as well. Absolutely. Let's see if this one's going to take just... This one is just a very delicate snowflake in general. But this would be a great way if you wanted to use your adhesive paper. That way you didn't have to put adhesive on the back of this. You could pop out all your holes here if you'd like. Now you remember all this did come out a little bit easier when we used that other brush, or that other mat. I think we have one more here somewhere that got lost. The tiny one. There it is. So you definitely can tell the difference, but you also are potentially losing parts of your die cuts. But these are really pretty. They're really, really nice with the silver. I like them a lot. All right, so that'll be enough of those for now, because I don't want to make you keep watching me press this through since I don't have any of these cut already. And what we're going to do is we're going to put these on the side. I'm going to keep this because we're going to need it. So we're going to go ahead now and we're going to kind of decorate the front of this card. All right, so this still, ooh, I did cut that one a little bit low. That'll be our little secret. So this one was cut just a teeny bit close to the edge, but that's okay. I'm going to use it anyway. So don't cut yours quite so low. All right, so I have all my snowflakes up top here, even the one that's kind of like half falling apart. We'll leave that one there anyway. You move all this stuff out of the way. And now we'll move on with using our sponges. So you could use sponges, or you could use the sponge daubers. Just kind of depends on what you want to do. But I will suggest that you get yourself a piece of scrap paper just to work on, so you can kind of go to the edge for this. All right, so again, this one was Thick Whisper White. So we have Thick Whisper White. This is for our inside panel. This will be our underneath panel. And I'm going to get out some daubers and some sponges, and we'll see which one looks better. A couple new ones here, since I have a couple lighter blue colors. That way I don't ruin them. And then I'll do the same thing. So the sponge daubers, they do come 5 in a pack. You get 5 in a pack. The sponges come 3 in a pack. And what I do, if you've never used these before, is I'll just take my scissors and I'll cut them in half, and then cut them in half. So then you have four sponges. You could put a punch on here, and you could staple if you wanted to keep your fingers clean. But no matter what I do, I never seem to keep my fingers clean, so I've just kind of given up on it. All right, so let us go with, for snowflakes, we'll do some blue. So we have some balmy blue, pool party, and maybe, let's see. We'll see if we can sneak some Coastal Cabana in there. But I'm going to start first with the pool party. And what we'll do is we'll do this with the sponge first. So sponging. Very confused. You know what, Patricia? Until you do it, it is a little confusing. I'm not going to fib. It definitely is a little confusing. And as I said, every time I use these embossing mats, I have to get the paper back out to find out which way to do it. So don't feel bad. I think it's kind of like the nature of the beast of learning something new is always a little bit difficult. Especially when you're not going to hurt your dies. The more likely thing is that you would accidentally cut your embossing mat more than anything. All right, so that is a little bit of Pool Party. So we'll close that one up for now. And then I'll do the Balmy Blue. I'm going to stick with the Balmy Blue is a little darker than it looks. It looks like it's going to be a little softer, but it's not. So I'm going to stick with the sponge for this one as well. And again, I'm kind of like testing it to see how dark it is before I'm putting it onto my card specifically. But it's a very pretty blue. It just seems like it's going to be a little bit softer than it is, and it ends up being a little bit deeper of a hued color. Especially that spot right there, Rachel. Come on now. But I thank you guys all, as always, for watching. I truly do appreciate your support. It is definitely hard to, I don't want to say compete, because I don't mean compete, because I watch lots of people make videos, but there are lots of people that you could be watching. Let me put it that way. So I appreciate you stopping by to see me. So I'm going to just take this with what I have and just kind of fill in the top just a little bit, so we still have just a little bit of color up there. And then I'm going to go back at the end, and we're going to add something to go around the border. So for the last one, I'll do the sponge dauber, and we'll see. Thank you guys for the sharing. I appreciate that. Thanks, Tina. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of Bermuda Bay. I know this probably isn't a color you would think of for snow, but we'll add it in just a little bit anyway. So I'm kind of starting at the edge and bringing it in a couple spots. It is a little bit greener, so if this is one you want to leave off, you certainly could. You still have your soft sky. That'd be a great color to use. I do miss the soft sky. It was such a light and beautiful, beautiful blue. I still have it. I love the soft sky. So I'm going to take my Pool Party, and I'm going to go in with my blender. Not my blender. Yeah. Sponge dauber. Good Lord. I'm losing my mind again. I'm going to just add a little bit of this at the top. And then I'm going to go around the edge. The Pool Party. And of course, one other thing you could do, which this is a super idea that just kind of dawned on me. So those are the three colors. This is a little dark. Stay away from the Coastal Cabana. I'd stick with the Pool Party and the Balmy Blue. And if you still have your soft sky, you could use that one too. I'm going to, I know one of these has alcohol in. Let me see which one. Scrapbooking. Who is talking about scrapbooking on here? I probably would be the most horrible scrapbooking person in the world, because I am so... I can't get my photo albums in order, let alone scrapbooking. All right, so this is alcohol. This is from something I filled up probably 2 weeks ago when we did something. I'm going to use a little bit of that Frost White and spray it over this, just so it has like that shimmery look. I love sponging. Me too. Sponging can save almost anything. So I shook that up really well. And then I'm going to just put a drop. I did order some of these, but they didn't come in yet. Put one drop for now. Let me put this in and see what it looks like. I'll shake it up. Can't quite tell. So I'm going to put in one more drop. Oh, rubber braying. Oh my gosh. Excuse me. We don't have the rubber brayer anymore, but I keep saying I'm going to do one. But you know what? I'm going to do a card. Next week, I'm going to do one with the rubber brayer, because I miss that rubber brayer. The sponge brayer is great and all. It's not my favorite by any means. I love brayering. That is my favorite thing too. Well, that and heat embossing and sponging and, you know, everything else. So this is alcohol. So you probably can't see, but you can see it's definitely a little swirly in there. So what I thought I added was probably plenty. So I'm going to just spray this. Let me move all this stuff out of the way. And now the alcohol, the one good thing about that is it should make everything dry a little faster, but it's kind of going to also soften everything a little bit, make the colors bleed. So since I sprayed it, I'm going to just hit it real quick with the heat tool just so it's done, okay? It's your weak point. Oh my gosh, Tina, that's the most awesome thing ever. All right, everybody still has your rubber brayer. Good. So next week, let's meet back here with our rubber brayer. We're going to bring the rubber brayer back. So that frost white is what it was. Looks so pretty. Oh my gosh, guys, if you don't have this, and I haven't used this enough either. It does make your card a little wonky though, if you can see. Oh my gosh, this looks so amazing in person. It's probably not, I'm trying to see if it shows. See that? Oh my gosh, it looks like Shimmer. So it looks like this is frozen, like a frozen window. There you can see it. It's so cool. Oh, this looks awesome. Okay, so now what we're going to end up doing, I think we're going to put our sentiment up here, since I kind of seem to stick with the bottom left of things. So there you go. Well, now everybody's going to be great at at brayering. So we're going to layer this on top here. And should we stick with, now this, since it's alcohol, just so you know, you can keep this. Also, if you have these, which mine already, I forgot to empty it yet again. If you're filling these with water, do distilled water so it doesn't get stinky on you, okay? This one needs to be emptied. But the one that's already mixed, you could just write on here, frost white with alcohol. That way you know what it is. And then all you have to do is just shake it up again before you use it. But this will be fine. You can leave this because it's alcohol. It'll be fine. Water, make sure you use distilled water or it's going to be stinky eventually. So we could put this on a color background. Love the shimmer print in this. I know, it's so nice. What color do we want to use? We could put it on a darker blue. We could put it on balmy blue. We could put it on pool party. We could put it on black. We could put it on smoky slate would be pretty because like a grayish or gray granite. Anybody have any suggestions? Well, water will get stinky. Denise, every water gets stinky. Trust me. Because I always open it and I'm like, is this alcohol? No, now it's stinky water. So let's see. What do we have? Anybody? Balmy blue. Navy. Navy would be really pretty too. Yeah, this isn't doing much for it. Navy might be a really good idea, Danette. Let's check out navy. Oh, where's my dark blue? Nope, that's bright. Navy would be like nighttime. Granite would be pretty as well. Oh, that looks really nice. All right, so we have navy there, and I saw a granite. So let me get out a granite piece. Smoky, basic. All right, here's gray granite. So I don't know. I think that it really pops a little bit more on that night of navy. Yeah, we're going to go with the night of navy. Sorry, gray graniters. Night of Navy is going to win. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to, if I can find my thing, we're going to score this at 5.5. Let me make sure this is actually 4 1/4. Yep. So we have Night of Navy as our base. What if, since I just got it, we could use one of these guys, the Merry Christmas to All. We could stamp something here. Oh, may the beauty of the season. I don't know if that's going to fit on there, but that sure would be gorgeous. Nah, that's kind of big. Yeah, that's a little large. That's going to take away from it a little bit, I think. Christmas blessings. That would be beautiful. Even like the pretty Mary, and then you just have a regular Christmas. That's really pretty too. All right. We'll use this one. All right, Merry Christmas or Christmas blessings. Merry. Oh, that'd be so pretty. Merry, and then we could do the Christmas. Do the Christmas in navy to bring the navy back in. And the Merry we're going to have to figure out. All right, so while I have it here, let me get my Stamparatus over. That way we can make sure this is nice and flat. and out of the way. Speaking of, have you guys seen the new Stamparatus accessories? They have that cool grid pad. Mine has not come in yet. I don't order anything overnight. I did that one time, and that was about all I could afford. So it's gorgeous. The grid paper is going to be so helpful because you can line things up, which is going to be super cool. So we'll put our Christmas here. Let's see. Put this up here so it doesn't get ripped off. Okay. Mary in silver embossing. You got it, girls. That's what we're doing. So I'm going to do the Christmas in navy, and we'll do the Mary in silver embossing. You read my mind. That's what happens when a team idea comes together, right? All right, I probably should have stamped this on something first because, you know, the very first time you stamp something, it never works. So let me just do this for the heck of it. All right. I'm going to put pad under here too. Sometimes this helps too. If you didn't notice this, if you have your Stamparatus open, if you put a pad there, it makes when you ink it, so you're more just inking the stamp instead of the whole stuff around it. So let's see what this looks like. Whoops, got stuck. Yep, I missed my S and the C, H. There we go, beautiful. All right, so I'm gonna take this off. That was Night of Navy. Let me just wipe all this stuff off, and then we'll do the silver embossing for the other one. I'm so excited. So if you didn't read my blog post, you know I made it up to Silver Elite, so I'm so happy. My family and I were going to be in Disney World anyway, just coincidentally when the Stampin' Up convention happened. I mean, that was really sheer coincidence, but now I get to go to the on-stage event for the first time, which I'm so excited about because that's the only part I was really going to be able to spend away from Disney World and my family to go to. So I won't be going to any of the other center stage or the other on-stage stuff, but I am going to, yeah, I am going to, actually I might leave this out. I am going to center stage. So I'm very happy about that. All right, so what I'm going to do is I put this away and I shouldn't have because we're going to need to put the Mary on here, and I figured I might as well do a really good job of it if I'm doing it instead of doing it halfway. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our Mary on here and we're going to heat emboss this. We all decided. We decided that as a group together, right? Put this here. Wrap this once more so it doesn't get caught up. All right, so there's the Mary. So, since we did a lot of stuff on this, it's really, really, really important. Chippendale, I love Chippendale. It's really important you use your embossing buddy, okay? Because you definitely, and it's going to make your thing look dirty, but that's okay. You want to cut down on whatever else could possibly be wet there, so you only get embossing powder on the Mary, okay? And while I'm at it, let me grab, do I have that out yet? Silver? No, that's gold. Let me grab my silver embossing powder. And we're going to use our Versamark. And we might do this twice so you guys can see what I've done with this when I've done it before. Hopefully it'll turn out. So what you do, where's my handy dandy coffee filter. So we inked it up with the Versamark. We'll put this on here, stamp it. Okay. And hopefully that went all the way through, because sometimes when you're not on the pressing real hard, it doesn't work. So I'm going to take my, yep, I can see it. Take my silver embossing powder and sprinkle this over top. Missed a little bit. All right, so that part didn't go, but that's okay because we're going to fix it. So I'm going to hit this with my heat tool. I'm going to turn it on and let it warm up. Chippendale are definitely fun. We do Chef Mickey's on the last day of our trip every time, which is super fun. Okay, so we only embossed part of our Mary, but that's okay because we're going to fix it. Since we have the Stamparatus, we can see our shadow of where this was. Let me go up just a hair. Okay, so I'm going to just ink this again. Whoops, come on. And I'm going to make sure I press really hard on that part. So same thing again, just dump your powder. And I probably should have hit it with the embossing buddy. I forgot. Yeah, so I'm gonna heat this again. I mess up all the time, Pamela. Don't you worry about that. That is my middle name. Now, what you can do when this is still hot, so I'm going to show you one more time. You see how it's getting higher there? I'm going to do this one more time so you can see what I mean. So I'm going to put this down again. Okay. I'm going to ink up my stamp again. Okay. Press it again, and I'm going to show you this next time. Instead of re-inking it one more time, as soon as I'm done heating it, I'm going to just re-sprinkle on it, so you'll see what I mean. Because you could do this instead of re-stamping it when the embossing powder is still hot. Okay, so I'm going to lift this. So pay attention, this will be quick. So I'm going to dump. Okay, tap it off. Heat it up. And as soon as you're done heating it, so it's all hot and melty, okay, you just dump again because it's still sticky right now. Now, sometimes you can run the risk of collecting things in an area you might not want when you do it this way. So see how that one worked out? Yeah, so I have my little extra spots here. So I'm going to take my brush and just brush this off so it doesn't get embossed. I do this sometimes. Sometimes it works. Sometimes, as you can see, it doesn't. See what happens when you're trying to be a show-off. Okay, so I'm going to cleaned up enough. I'm going to heat it one more time. But you can, if you have an image that you're very comfortable with, all you do is you just re-dump the powder. Now that gave a little sparkle. We'll say that looks like a Christmas sparkle there. You can re-dump the powder, and the powder is sticky enough that will actually adhere. So I kind of lost a little definition in my E for the Mary, but that's okay. It still looks cool. You get the drift. We could, if we wanted to, recover it, but it looks pretty. It kind of looks like snow in the background, sparkly. So that's what I'm going to go with. Just close this up. So if you're worried you got a little bit of dust onto your mat there, just when you finish wiping off your stamp, just wipe this just like that. No big deal. It's not going to hurt anything. Another good idea would be in between to make sure that you do use your embossing buddy, unlike me. That way you don't have everything all goofied up. And not in the good goofy way. Let me put this over here. All right, so here's our Merry Christmas. Now we do still have to finish the inside because we didn't do that yet. And I lost my, here's my silver and my blue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a lot of adhesive on the back of this. And I'm going to go with the Tombow, okay? So, because Tombow really helps the sticking power of everything. Plus it helps you to be able to move things around if you need to on your paper underneath. You probably don't need that much. It's a little overkill. And then since this is a little bit kind of wavy, you could set something on top of this if you wanted to. That way you can make sure it was nice and flat. So I'm going to try as best as I can. I was going to say to cover up this bottom piece down here, but it's okay. This is going to be on my sample. On yours, you're going to make sure that you don't cut your snowflakes as near the bottom as I did. So make sure you keep them up near the center. And then I'm going to do the same thing again. Move this over so I don't mess up the front. Is I'm going to put some more Tombow on the back of this. Just ordered like 4 more bottles of this because I love this glue. It's my favorite. I love this much more than the snail even. Fast Fuse was great too because it was really easy to get things to stick like right where you wanted them. But sometimes I just don't find the snail as great of an adhesive as I'd like it to be. Okay, so here's what it looks like finished, but we still have to finish the inside. So in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some blocks on top of it. And that one's probably not very heavy, but if you have a punch that weighs a little bit, you could sit that on it too. That'll kind of help to keep it flatter. So I'm gonna move this over. So we have our inside now. So we have all of our snowflakes. We could add a snowflake to the outside of that too once it's finished. And I know we're running on 10:30, so I'm going to finish this up as quick as I can because I'm sure everybody's probably got stuff to do today. So that one on the outside, we just said Merry Christmas. How about wishing you love and peace all year? That's a really pretty one. We'll do that. And then we'll add some snowflakes. And then we'll be done. So just for the sake of, now that I put all this effort into this so I don't mess it up, I'm going to get my Stamparatus out one more time. And I've got a lot of stuff going on here. And put this right here in the center. And I'm going to stick with the, I'm going to put it up a little bit higher. And I'm going to stick with the navy on this one. Okay. So sometimes that pulls your paper up. That's okay. Move these over, grab my navy. Yeah, lots of techniques on this one, that's for sure. We hit a quota today of techniques. And if for some reason anything didn't turn out with this, when you have your Stamparatus, you just re-ink it. You can close it again. But that looks nice, just like that. You could also, if you wanted to, you could add some snowflakes on the bottom stamped, in addition to the ones that we are going to adhere. But just kind of depends on what you want to do. Pull this out, close this up. Okay, so we have this. And then I'm going to take some of my fine tip glue pen and I'm going to just put a couple dots of adhesive on this. Doesn't really have to be on the whole thing. Just kind of wherever you want it. Flip it over. And press it down. This one you do want to hold for a second, or if you have an extra block while you're doing another one, you could just put your block on there to press it down. Same thing we'll do for this one. I'm not poking out as much of this as I probably should, but we'll just put some on the ends of these. Get this one little piece out. Okay, same thing. Put this over here, press it down. Do one of these little guys up in the top. So this is another one with the real fine. So the fine tip glue pen works really well for these, or you could press these through by using those Sizzix adhesive sheets. Another good idea, because then they will stick. All you have to do is peel that layer off of them and they'll stick really, really well. And this one's a little bit, this is the one that kind of got roughed up a little bit. So I'll put this one on the front. Put a little bit of adhesive in the corner of these. You don't really need a lot. This was the one that had the really deep embossing to it, if you remember. We'll just set that on there for now. Give that a press. You don't want to put this on here long enough that it sticks your block to it. But once it's finished, what we'll do is, let me just close this up so it doesn't dry out. You can go ahead and just trim the parts of this that hang off with your paper snips. Oops. There we go. That's good. And let me move the rest of these over. Move this stuff out of the way. And then I'll grab my snail and we'll put this one on the inside. So, got 35 fast fuses. I think I probably have that many refills as well, because I really, when they had that one special a while back, I thought, well, this is awesome. So I did buy some as well then. Other thing you could do too, if you felt like it, which I'm a big advocate for doing this, but I forgot, is you could sponge the edge of this. Oh, I put this on crooked. Try and get this off without wrecking it. Yeah. So while I have it, you could sponge the edge of this, since I put it on there crooked, with your pool party, just with whatever's left, just to kind of bring that pool party from the outside to the inside. That's the good part. If you had fast fuse and you ripped that off, you probably would rip your paper in half, right? So since I pulled that off, I'll put a couple more pieces on. Oops. All right, and I'll try to put this on a little bit more straight. There you go. That's better. So sponging the edges kind of brings like that pool party to the inside. So there we go. Except for this little goof down here. You can always put a little snowflake down there to cover it up. How about that? I have to trim that off a little bit, but really pretty card. Very simple. Again, let me pull this other one up here. Where did it go? So you can see it. I will do a video, I promise you, on this one with the fall card as well. As you can see, I really like things going to the left-hand side of the paper, huh? So these are both using the embossing mats that are in the back of the catalog. Again, there's 3 pieces to it, the hard white board, the flexible blue, and the flexible gray. You get all 3 of them for $15. If you would love to shop, I'd love you to shop in my online store. You can find me at rachthestamper.stampinup.net. I do have a hostess code, which is on the top of the blog, top of the Facebook page here. It also will be on my blog. If you do purchase from me, I do give you some little freebies for shopping with me because I greatly appreciate all of your support, any and all support. I really do appreciate. So thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. But those are all listed on my blog, which is rachthestamper.com. And if you go to monthly specials, it's like over on the left-hand side there. Monthly specials will tell you what my specials are. They do change each month. And I hope you guys have an awesome day. I will post this. If I can get it made, maybe tomorrow I'll put it on YouTube. That way you can see how to do this as well. But they're both gorgeous cards. A whole nother use for your dies. I mean, you could do this even with your Adirondack chair. You could put that in the background and then put the cup in the foreground. There's so many things you could do with this set, with all of your sets. So if you have them and you have this embossing mat and you never knew what to do with it, now you do. So get it out and play with it. Make something cool. I'm sure somebody would love to see something you'd share. Thank you, Donna. I appreciate it. I appreciate you, Donna, for watching, because Donna gives me a lot of these really great ideas, guys. So, and here's the inside of these cards again. Thank you all for watching. If I don't see you sooner, I will see you next Wednesday, right back here at Rach the Stamper on Facebook, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope you guys have an awesome week, and thank you so much for joining.